Hey guys, so a disclaimer, today I am going to be screaming because obviously I don't have a mic and I'm shooting at home, but there's something happening outside on the building, at the building next to us. So, and I'm like, I really wanted to do this video today, and I'm all about my to-do list, and I was just sitting there reading a book, and I'm thinking I could actually be shooting a video for my subscribers. So I just figured I will scream so that you guys can hear everything that I'm gonna say. Okay, cool, great. So thank you guys for tuning in. Welcome back to another video on my channel. Welcome back to the Lawyer Corner. Sitting in front of you is Mapula Situsa, also known as Maple. I am an attorney and I'm a content creator, and yeah, this is the Lawyer Corner. So without wasting any further time, let us get into the video. So as per the title of the video, we already know what the video is about. So if you are not in high school, I don't think this video is applicable to you because you already have a varsity experience. But if you are about to go to varsity, because I know that varsities are about to open, I know that matric exams matric results are about to be released. So if you are going to university for law, it's obviously a different time because now things are more digitalized, and I don't know varsity from that type of experience. So I'm just going to speak to you from my own little experience, and hopefully it helps you out. Okay, so you've been accepted into your university and you are now doing your first year. Amazing. So university is a place where I think most of us find ourselves, find who we want to be, and we find some long life friendships in varsity. And also you are there to get your qualification. That's the main reason why you're there. There's going to be a little bit, not even a little bit, a lot of transition from being in high school, from like asking to go to the bathroom 3 months ago, and now you have all this freedom as to whether you can go to class or if you don't want to go to class. Okay, so obviously now things are more digitalized, so there is even more responsibility that is on you to actually focus and be present. It's more on you, unlike when you have a timetable and you would actually have to attend and be there physically in the classroom. At least now that has been taken away for a bit for now due to the COVID pandemic, but you still need to attend classes, I think, and you still need to submit assignments, and you still need to be present. Okay, so the first thing is that some people like to say that the first year doesn't really count. It actually does. I think the first year is either a make it or break it. Is law for me? Can I take on the pressure? And most people drop out after experiencing the first year and realizing this is not for me. So I feel like your first year, when people say first year doesn't really count, I beg to differ. First year is one of the most important, like first year and final year, those are very important, obviously, with like there's a difference in importance. And I remember in my first year, I think I had also mentioned it in becoming an attorney. In my first year, I remember we were so many. We were like 800 to 1,000 students at the time. And I remember the one of the lecturers in, I won't forget him. It was Introduction of South African Law. And he was saying that there's 800 students of you. So using one of the biggest lecture halls on the campus. And he said that when you guys are going to be doing your final year, and I'm talking about the group of 2011, that's when I went to varsity. 2011, that means in 2014, when you guys are in your final year, you guys are going to be using some of the smallest classes on campus. And he was not kidding. People dropped out. By the time we were doing second year, people had decided that the law is not for me, I can't take it. And I can't take the pressure, the studying, the material, so much reading. People were like, no, I'm not doing this. So first year is really important, and I feel like you can really prepare. Excuse me. So one of the first points that I want to say is that don't fall for the trap of Can I make a disclaimer? I am using natural lighting, and it is like 3 minutes to 7. So anyway, don't fall for the trap that first year doesn't count. Let me tell you something. I think the pass rate is now like 40% or 50%. Yeah, I think it's 50%. And you can get 50% and you can go by. No one's going to treat you differently, and everything's going to be normal for you. It's going to be fine. But the problem comes after university, or the problem comes when you have to now calculate how much your average is. So when you calculate your average, you're going to take all your 35 modules, add them up, divide them by 35, and that is your average. And if your average is not looking great, you're not going to be able to register for a master's in certain universities because they expect you to have at least 60 to 65%. You won't be able to, like, your average will be so low for certain firms, where certain law firms are like, no, we accept candidate attorneys who have an average of 70%, 60%, and you wanted to go to that firm, and you only started getting serious in your second year, and then your first year marks are deteriorating the rest of your career, actually. So this is not meant to scare anyone, but this is just meant to make you aware that first year is really important. Another thing that I personally went through in my first year is that I failed one module, and I got a supplementary for that exam. And what I did is that I went home, because I studied in the University of Limpopo, and I am from, like, I don't live very far from the university. I live like maybe like an hour, an hour 45 minutes. Like, I don't really live far from the university, but I used to live on campus. But at that time, I realized that, some of my friends are still on campus. People are doing parties. It's hectic. People just come knocking on your door, and it's a party. So me and one of my friends, we decided, because we live in town, or we live around, let's just go home. We had the date for the supplementary. We went home to study, and we were prepared. So on the timetable, we were supposed to write at 2 o'clock. So we were communicating the day before and on the day, like, what time are you going to be on campus, because me and him were friends. There were other people who were also obviously repeating it, but we were friends, so we were trying to help each other out. So the next day, he's like, okay, maybe let's meet at around 11 so that we can at least go to the library for a good 2 hours or an hour just to refresh and revise. So cool. 10 o'clock, we get there, we look for the venue. We see that the timetable has changed colors. So when we left, I think it was purple. Now it's yellow, or it was pink. I don't remember. It was a different color. So we're checking what time our paper is being written. Guys, our paper had started, the people had started writing at 8 o'clock. It's around 10:30 to 11. We are missing the paper as we are standing right there, because we didn't know that the university can change dates around, can change when you write, like, you need to be on campus. So those are things that no one taught us, no one told us. We were both doing our first year. We thought that we were doing the best thing ever. We got to the dean's office, and I was in shambles. I was in tears already, because I didn't want to disappoint my parents. My parents are so supportive, so disappointing them was just like, even already to the supplementary was a lot. But for me, studying, and they could believe it, they believed in me, and they saw that, she really wants to just get through this first year. So the dean is like, unfortunately, you guys are still in your first year, and you guys have 3 years to go in the university. If you guys were doing your final year, then it would have been a different story, understanding that it's your last module, and maybe you guys are going to law school, and you guys are maybe going to work, we would have allowed you to write another exam. But because you guys are doing your first year, you guys missed the exam, you guys are going to have to repeat the module next year. Let me tell you something about failing a module. It can derail you when you go to your second year, when you go to your third year, fourth year, until you graduate. Why? Because now there's a timetable for second year students, second year law students. There's also a timetable for first year law students. And those classes can clash, or that one class can clash with one of your modules in your second year. And now you have to choose. What are you going to prioritize? Are you going to prioritize a first year module, or are you going to prioritize your second year module so that you pass everything in second year because you realize? So can you guys understand that as much as it's just first year, it has a ripple effect on how you perform and how you will progress moving forward. But otherwise, you have to choose. Okay, I'm just gonna go through my notes. Oh, I just said here the best thing you can do is put in effort, okay, because you're doing your first year. Okay, this is law. It can be complicated and it can be boring, but it's a well-regarded subject for a reason, and it will be worth it. Okay, so as much as it's a lot, and if it's boring for you, that's also a bit of a problem because this is just your first year and you're already getting bored. I mean, think about it. Okay, so that's the first point. Okay, the second thing is you preparing for varsity. How do you prepare for something that you've never experienced? Okay, my thing is get everything that you need. Get all the textbooks that you need, okay? Understand that there's going to be a lot of pressure. There's going to be a lot of new friends. They're going to be influential. There's going to be a lot of freedom. So if you've never experienced freedom, like I hadn't, I was always home, but I had friends and I knew that I don't want to be here forever. You know, they had a term for people who were in varsity for a long time. They called them ancestors, and you'd always like just be scared, like I don't want to be an ancestor. Another point that I can give you is that, well, I don't know how they do it in other universities, but I know that other universities like they give you like the recommended textbooks. So what you can do is just try and go through those textbooks. Try and familiarize yourself with the subject. What is it about? What are you expected? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just put on my ring light. This is a bit better. As I was saying, study the textbooks. Sometimes you can't afford the textbook, which I totally understand, but you can buy copies. From what I've experienced, people buy copies, or you can buy second-hand textbooks. Another thing is, if there are classes, most of the time fourth year students or third year students will have classes for first year and second years to tutor them. Find out about that if they are tutors. Speak to your lecturer to say, are there any extra classes on this module? Are there any tutors that I can approach? Do you know anybody? The lecturer will most probably refer you to a law student that maybe they trust. You know what, your first year might just be your first year, but it does ripple effect to the rest of your year. You're obviously going to have a lot of you're going to have a lot of freedom. You're going to, like, I remember the first time, disclaimer, my parents are going to see this. The first time I went out in varsity, I think it was already in like around April. I was like a good student. I went home, like I went to class, I went back to res, and yeah. But then in April, I remember the first time I came back late, and it was around midnight, and the liberation of just unlocking my door, locking it, taking off my makeup, and getting into bed was like, is this it? I was like, I am an adult. I don't have nobody to answer to. Like, where have you been? No. But also, that can be a lot of people's downfall, because now you realize you have all this freedom. Now you're drinking alcohol, you're experiencing this alcohol, you are now becoming this adult, and it could affect your schooling. It could affect, guys, this video is honestly not meant to scare you guys, but to rather prepare you to say, I'm not saying you need to live in the library forever, no, but I'm saying you need to have a balance. Like make sure that during the week you are a student, you know what I mean? So it's better when you go to class and say, oh no, flip, this is what I didn't understand when I read that in the library, you know. And as I was saying, sometimes you don't get the time to do it the night before, but let's say the class is later on in the day. You have at least the whole day to prepare for that class and the chapters that they said that you guys are going to be focusing on. So pay attention to your introductory classes. Because those ones are also going to help you with the other classes when you go to the next years. Pay attention to what the lecturer says you must read. Have a balance between your work, your friends, and freedom. Because as much as you want to be a law student that is acing everything, you also want to make friends that you can share memories with. You also want to be involved in extracurricular activities so that, you know, when you apply, when you're done doing your first year, you can say, I did this, I did that, I did this and that, you know. You need to find a balance. Okay, and the last one, and definitely not the least important one, time management. Okay, time management. So guys, this is such a crucial part of university, and getting it in your head right now while you're still in varsity before you even get into a classroom and get overwhelmed will benefit you now and in the long end. You cannot go through university without a social life. Trust me, I know it. I had a social life. But you need to have a balance. You need to have a balance. I had friends who liked to party, okay, but the other thing is that we knew that during the week we go to the library every day. The guys would come from their res, pick us up at the girls' reses so that we don't, because it's at night, pick us up at the girls' reses, go to the library, study, come back, see to each other the next day. Friday after class is going down. So we had a balance. I'm really grateful for, you know, Wunapi, Little McDonald. We, like, you know what, as much as I'm not really close with all of them now, but back then there was like, we really had a system going that we are gonna go to the library, and we're gonna come. Sometimes it wasn't easy, sometimes you just want to sleep, you know, but we understood that we need to have that balance. Because normally what the lecturers do is that they'll tell you, next class we are going to be focusing on chapter 4 and 8. They do that so that you prepare for the class, because they are lecturing you. They are not teaching you anymore like we used to be taught in high school. Now it is up to you, for you to understand the concepts, because they are just going to brush on the surface, and then it's up to you to fully understand. There's nothing as irritating as going to a class and a lecturer is standing there in civil procedure and you don't hear anything. And it messes, you not understanding at the beginning messes with the rest of the module. Another thing is that when you are in first year, a lot of committees or a lot of societies are gonna approach you. Okay? So you need to do your research on all of them. You need to see what fits with you. You need to also look at things in a futuristic point of view, like how is this going to benefit me when I leave school? So just also don't take everything that they bring to you. Tell them, no, I'll think about it. When is your guys' meetings? Maybe I can come there and see what you guys talk about, because normally they'll have like their meetings at the beginning of the year, just to say what happened last year, what is the plan for this year for that specific committee, and then you can just assess that committee to say, is it for me, is it not for me? Me personally, I was approached by 2 committees, and it was like they were like competing, but it was all about law. So I ended up falling for, and I think because most of my friends were in that society, and people that I gravitated more towards were in that society, and the guy who helped me when I was registering was also in that society. So I'm like, I'm gonna go there. So I joined the Black Lawyer Society, and that was the only thing that I was doing when I was in Varsity, because in each society there are activities, and you also need to participate in order for you to be recognized. Avoid signing up for everything, because yeah, you're gonna get a little bit overwhelmed as time goes. And what I had said is that though I would encourage a first year law student to join societies and to have fun at the same time, do not make this mistake of forgetting your studies. I think I already touched on that, and I don't want to touch on it because I don't want to scare you, but you have to. One thing is that you need to also understand how your body works and how your mind works. Actually, you were in grade 11 and you were in grade 12, and you know how you study. Don't feel pressured to say, oh, you must cross night because everybody is cross nighting, and you feel like if you don't cross night, if cross nighting is not for you, don't do it. For me personally, cross nighting, I am not the girl for cross nighting. No, I'm not that girl. I need to rest. Okay, so let's say I was studying from maybe 8 o'clock. I'll tell myself I'm going to study for the next 3 hours. 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock, I mean. Then I will say, kudos, bye guys, I'll see you. I'll go to my room. Most probably I've had dinner already, so then I'll have some tea. Most that time, obviously, I wasn't fancy, got the chamomile, lady peppermint, so I always loved rooibos, and it helped me sleep. Drink my rooibos, drink my water, say my prayers, go to sleep, set an alarm for maybe, like, I always made sure that I got in the hours that I needed for sleeping. If I'm sleeping, let's say I get to my room at 11:30, okay? So I'm gonna now sleep at 12. So I'm gonna read the hours. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm like, I think waking up at 4 will work. I think I would have rested enough, you know? And I will sleep. 4 o'clock, I wake up, I do my studying, especially if I'm writing on that day. I will bath. Let's say we're writing at 8 o'clock, or maybe we're writing at 2 o'clock. Let me use the 2 o'clock example. I will wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I will study maybe until 6 o'clock, 2 hours, Yana, go through everything. One thing that I used to do is that I used to record myself, listen to myself, go through the notes that I have recorded while listening, and just so that they are in here. Like, I used to do that. It will work for you, it might not work for you. Try it, don't try it, it's whatever. It was my studying method. I still use it today, even in my master's. So yeah, I'd wake up, and then maybe at around 6 o'clock I'd have my breakfast, my tea, go and take a shower, look pretty. I liked to look pretty because it made me feel so good about myself, and my self-esteem was in check. So I'd bath, look cute, prepare everything, continue studying, maybe now make my way closer to the lecture halls, maybe go to the library, and then meet up with other people, compare notes. What are you focusing on? What haven't you focused on? You know what I mean? So yeah guys, it's all about time management and just having a balance. You don't want to be that person who's always partying, and you also don't want to be that person who's always studying, where you can't make friends, because at some point it's going to get a little bit depressive, because you know, one day the class is cancelled, you know, on a Friday. I remember we had this class on a Friday called his South African history, but it was like really late on Fridays. And sometimes Advocate Young would cancel the class, and the last class was maybe at around 12. So you have the whole day now to yourself. Like, it's a Friday. You need to like polar relax, and it's nice to relax with friends, over a drink, even if you don't drink. Maybe go to the park, maybe go watch some soccer, maybe go to someone's room and watch movies. Like, you know what I mean? So you need to also have like a balance to say, sure, Mr. Young canceled the class, at least, put your books away. So Fridays and Saturdays, they must be your days. And then your Sunday is your recovery days. Okay? And anyway, this is also coming from my point of view. This is to help you guys on things that I did that I feel like helped me, and mistakes that I did that I don't want you guys to go through. And one important thing is that, guys, don't be scared to get a tutor, okay? I hope this helped you, my grade 12, full, my grade 11, my first year people who have been accepted, that this video is for you guys. I hope this video helped. And guys, please do comment down below. I've gotten so many positive responses with regards to, I'm just gonna send a shout out. It's Cecilia. She went for an interview and she watched my video on interview tips, and she went in there a little bit more confident. So I really do appreciate the feedback. It really makes me feel like I'm actually doing something purposeful, just hoping that it helps someone out there. So when it does help you guys, really appreciate your feedback. I know people have been requesting me to invite an advocate and someone who used the stream of BCom law to become an attorney. I do have people in mind. The channel, sorry, I'm in Pretoria, and then the BCom one is in Joburg. So I'm really gonna try and get those two. Those are two videos that I have to get out this year, so that you guys, in case you're doing your BCom law and you want to know how to become an attorney, because I honestly cannot give you that journey because I took the LLB route. And I'm also going to invite an advocate who said he's very happy with what I'm doing on my channel. So I think I'm going to invite him to just explain to you guys how to go about the route, the two different routes of either going to pupillage or doing ex parte. He'll explain everything, but those videos will be coming very, very soon. I'm going to leave the video here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. And also don't forget to follow me on my social media platform. I am Mapula_Satisa absolutely everywhere, Twitter and Instagram. Thank you guys so much for your support. I love you so much. Good night.